Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with a quick update video here in regards to some upcoming things that are around the pipeline for the game. But in case you guys missed the boat on this, Battleworld is in fact returning very soon here, guys. There's been a couple of data mines already seeing some of the newer information being circulated for Battleworld, so we're going to be seeing some different switches around in terms of requirements for teams. But more importantly, we've actually have an opportunity here to get some notes from the previous council meeting. So in case you guys aren't aware, there's actually a formalized group that's called the Players Voice Council, and typically they meet with the developers of Marvel Strike Force, in this case Scopely, every couple weeks to not just discuss the state of the game, but as well as concerns, issues, and things to work on. So we actually did hear back from them on the last few meetings, especially with it being the start of the new year, and some meaningful things to be had here. But yeah, I just want to circulate this so that you as a player, you are aware of what's happening around the game, and as well as what's coming in the pipelines for us as players. So in case you haven't followed along, the actual Discord for it is called the MSF Player Voice Movement, and you can actually join it as well to get these same updates I'm showing right here. So again, they do their best in terms of just having the transparency of all the meetings that have been had, and it does actually at times include Ryan Jacobson as well, who's the current GM for Scopely whenever they're discussing some of these issues. So it is nice that we have this direct channel with them, and then to obviously get insight as well as sneak peeks of what's to come. Let's take a look, guys. So in the spirit of an ongoing transparency, the Players Council wants to share what we are able from meetings that transpire with Scopely representatives. Please note, all discussions between Scopely, Boundless, and Player Council are under NDA, so topics are private and confidential. Below is a brief summary regarding the January 16th and 30th meeting. So you may have already seen this as well, but Zombie Juggernaut is the new web free claim. It's been amazing to see that, just because, before he was obviously an epic character that was not farmable, and now everyone has access to him if you're just logging in daily on marvelstrikeforce.com and just claiming it. So that's pretty awesome. Stores. The discussion continues. The need for change in many stores and currency accumulation has been brought up several times. There are regularly more pertinent issues to resolve, but the further this gets kicked down the road, the greater the problem. I agree. It's really unfortunate because the state of where the stores are now is that many players likely have more resources that they can spend, and even if they rejig this up in the future, the fact of the matter is that most players like myself, especially Hoarded, we just have so much that no matter what they do to the store, unless they change the scaling of economy here, we just have so much that we can, even if you were to add some new characters into some of those stores, we can unleash our reserves and just max out those characters anyway. So I am eager to see what kind of changes will be coming, because that one's going to be an interesting one to solve. But as you can tell from the verbiage here, it's definitely not a priority among the other things that are pressing. Seasons. Discuss updating season rewards across the board. Yeah, another big issue, and obviously if you want to stay relevant in the game, you got to make sure that players have, ample economy, and that's getting scaled with the releases and new characters and teams that are consistently getting released, as well as the changing meta. So that obviously takes precedence for sure. Purple Isolate. While this is understood to be a scarce resource, the need to keep it moving has resurfaced. Battleworld will be returning soon, but a few suggestions were discussed to bring more to the masses. So that's what I was saying earlier, guys. This is the definite confirmation that Battleworld is right around the corner. Like I said, even in the data mines, we are seeing things being updated once again. So just something to be mindful of there. That's going to be a game mode that we need to prep for once again, and Astro should have value again further, as well as us ultimately unlocking Null to add him into our roster, which, by the way, is the next point. We know there's a concern in people watching calendars comparing when we would have Null if Battleworld was not taken down and what the new release will look like. This is something that we are very much aware of and are tracking internally as well. So I think that's the big question on everyone else's mind, right? It's like, we want this, BA character, absolutely diabolical in the game mode, but we also want access to actually build them up and use them against other players, right? So definitely want access to that. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of verbiage they have on that. Battleworld Player Council has been discussing the Battleworld's return and the changes Scopely has been making with them. Playtesting is now underway, so maybe not next week, but maybe in a couple weeks though, we'll probably get that definitive update. Maybe heck, even this week's upcoming Friday blog post, they'll maybe give us a confirmation of when that's coming. But again, we can check the calendars and whatnot too, and kind of get a sense of if there's a lack of activity, perhaps it can get slotted in there. War. Regular discussions of ways to keep players who love war happy and give people who don't love war some help. Several ideas discussed for gameplay as well as tools, improvements for leadership. Yeah, nothing to be said there. I mean, it really depends ultimately on your alliance, right? If they're active or not. Obviously, I can only speak for myself, but that experience is kind of what you need to be looking for in terms of alliance, and that's how you assess the overall fit and where your gameplay style is as well. We have dark promotion credits and dark diamond updates. So the council has been flagging heavy costs for older DPC characters, asking for cost reduction in some over a year old. Also inquiring about timelines for many high value characters like red stars and diamond players have been looking for. So I agree with this point. I think we've gone past the point of, even just the horsemen and the recent legendary characters. At some point, you got to make things cheaper, especially since those have not really changed since their release. So something to be mindful of there for sure. Age of X, more information about what's coming next very soon. So I mean, this is the big one, right? Obviously, it was hyped up last year. We know Professor Xavier is going to get featured as an unlock, and usually they try to do this every anniversary, and every anniversary is typically in the month of March. On top of that, typically we also see a new dark dimension. So I'm not surprised that this hasn't been released yet or any information, because I'm sure they're trying to wrinkle out the details in terms of making sure that once this gets into public eye, it's gonna be solidified and obviously coming down the pipelines for ourselves. And then, last but not least, multiple new elements were discussed and teased. While it's easy to see disparaging comments about the decline of the game, there are multiple things in the works to suggest Scopely is still very much invested in the game's success. We continue to work with the team to try and make new features, game modes, and characters appealing to players across the board, and to be mindful of different spending habits and styles. Yeah, this one's interesting. I think the sentiment in the game right now is it could just be the sluggishness of the winter holidays, and then obviously being in the new year. But yeah, they have been shedding players, and players have been not happy ever since obviously the revised free-to-play method. But hopefully there's some new excitement coming. I know what gets me going is obviously the new events, as well as new teams and characters around the pipeline. So yeah, hopefully guys, let me know what you think, comments below. But it's always good to stay on top of this, and this is kind of what's around the corner anyway. So fingers crossed we get some exciting new news. And obviously, like I said, I think they're on the right track, but by no means do I think the game is in maintenance mode. I think they're still trying to figure things out and bring back obviously a game mode that they spent heavy resources on, but obviously it didn't work out the way it did. So I'm sure feedback is important, and when you're taking in feedback, that means you care about the game and that you obviously want it to keep on growing. So there you guys have it. Thank you for your time as always. Let me know what you think, comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.